no disrespect, my brother. As I said, just because I simply have a disagreement with you, it does not mean any type of disrespect, man. All right? Just to, get that point across, all right? I'm not coming on it with hate just because I simply have a disagreement. That's not true. All right? The scriptures say, be ye as men in your understanding. All right? So, yeah, I still stand with Sakari on that one. That Romans 13 is talking about the judges over Israel. Because if what you guys are saying is true, well, then by logic, you guys are saying that the Most High's, minister is a homosexual then. Because it says this is God's minister. Okay, so if Esau's God's minister is a homosexual then. No way around that. You see, it just doesn't make any sense. And also,
Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Dash. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Just wanted to do a quick response regarding the opening clip and the idea that the ministers in reference to Romans 13 is not speaking of Esau. In all humility, I totally disagree. All throughout the scriptures, Esau is a minister to Yahweh as well. This is not intended to be an all long and drawn out refute. No way do I attempt to answer for the elder apostle. He is far more capable, but really I came across it and it takes about 2.2 seconds to dispel if you are truly with GMS, as you say. For those of you who follow my channel, you know I'm a firm believer in the theory of Occam's razor. Simply put, the simplest solution is usually the right one. That being said, starting with Elder Apostle Tahar and the elders and apostles on down, that the stance taken regarding the rightfully dividing the word of truth is based upon one, the obvious being precept upon precept, no different than the basic principles of practicing law and looking at what is already made precedent. Matter of fact, let's get it. This is Psalms chapter 119, verse 104, and it reads, "Through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way." That's straight and to the point. The second way to break down the word is with the understanding that to get to the root of what was actually intended to be understood by the biblical text, you must go to the original language from which the text was initially translated. This is Matthew chapter 13, verse 11. We'll start at 10, and it reads, "And the disciples came and said unto him," the him being Yahushai, "Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" He answered and said unto them, "Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given." Therefore, you have to go into the Hebrew and Greek, which are the parables to those outside of the truth, to discover the mysteries. So let's do that. When you look at the Greek for minister, on the surface, the word for minister, before anything else, the standing definition is to run on errands. An attendant, that is a waiter, ergo a servant. Let's read the text. Romans 13 and 4. "For he is the minister of the heavenly Father to thee for good." Meaning he is an attendant, that is a waiter, ergo a servant, to run on errands for Yahweh for the purpose of Israel's good, for Israel's sake. "But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain." Meaning Esau has a sword and he will use it. We can stop right here. Let's get a precept. Psalms 17 and 13 is a good one. And it reads, "Arise, O Lord Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is what? Thy sword." And how about this one? Psalm 22 and 20. "Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling, from the power of the dog." And where does this power come from? It says so in Romans 13 and 1. But again, let's get a precept. This is the wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 3. We'll start at 1. "Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Give ear, ye that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations." Now, who's that speaking of? Who is in the rulership of the people today? Verse 3, and here's the point. "For power is given you of the Lord, whose name is Yahweh, and sovereignty." I brought this out in my last video. Sovereignty in a political theory, which is clearly what this whole passage is in reference to, is the ultimate overseer or authority in the decision-making process of the state and in the maintenance of order. For power is given you of Yahweh, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. Clearly, this is in reference to Esau, Edom. To bring the whole thing home, we can go to verse 5. Because being ministers of his kingdom, ye have not judged aright, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of the Most High. Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. In any event, the lexicon for Psalm 22 and 20 refers to them as wild dogs, and we know throughout the scriptures that dogs is indicative of Satan, i.e. Esau, as well as the other nations. Matter of fact, Job said Esau was lower than his dogs. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Psalm 22 and 16, for dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierce my hands and my feet. And yet still a dog does the will of his owner. Ergo, a dog is a servant to his master. Yahweh Shai said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. And a woman of faith responded, truth, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from their master's table. I digress. Again, back to Romans 13:4. For he is the minister of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, a revenger, to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. I mean, it really doesn't get any plainer than that, but I'm going to humor you. Let me get it again. For he is a minister of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Meaning the sword set up by Yahweh for humanity and a whipping stick set up to correct Israel when they're going off has to be Esau, Edom. Look at it this way. Who penalizes you when you don't follow the Lord's instruction? Is it the instrument Yahweh uses to punish you with, or is it Yahweh himself? I mean, right here, if you truly possess any understanding, you should already be thoroughly convinced. But let's go back to the Greek. When you look at the root for the word minister, it directs you to two other words, one being G1169, G1169, timid, that is, by implication, faithless, fearful. How about this? Revelation 21:8 says this, but the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable and murderers and warmongers and sorcerers and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Now, what role does the rightful judges of the earth play here? What about Esau? Considering fearful here is in reference to those that deny the truth, sake of ridicule or being ostracized. And if you say it could be in reference to Israel, even the 2/3 here, then you really haven't thought this thing through. You know why most of y'all can't get it? Let me read this. This is John chapter 6, verse 63, and it reads, it is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. As the elders say, skin color does not a Jake or an Israelite make. The use of the word minister applies to the spirit before it applies to the flesh. And you, of all people, should know that. The other word, which is more telling, is G1377, by implication to persecute, ensue, follow after, given to, suffer, persecute, press toward, to pursue after you. Does that speak to Jake over Jake in a judicial or even supervisory role? Or is that indicative of Esau's treatment of Israel and his rule over the tribe since time immemorial? As I said, I was solely responding to the remark made in the opening clip. Why is it Israel can't understand Esau was made for Yahweh's pleasure and purpose? There is no emotional attachment. He was made to play his role in the movie, and that's it. Isaiah 45:7. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Esau's just the wrench to screw you nuts in place. It ain't that hard to get. The gentleman in this video went on to question why certain laws were followed and others were disregarded. I would remind Israel that according to Paul, all things are lawful, but not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any, meaning other than Yahweh's will. Meats for the belly and the belly for meats, but the Most High shall destroy both it and them. Straight into the point. Romans 13:7 says, render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom. Is this speaking of tithes, or Is this in reference to tax? The Greek for tribute contends it is the latter, and the word due means there is a debt to be paid. Again, who is in the power seat that taxes should be paid to? Esau or Jake? How about this? Let's go to the dictionary. Let's go to the Etymon dictionary, matter of fact. Minister, 1300. Man consecrated to service in the Christian church, an ecclesiastic, which is the secular view. Also, an agent acting for a superior, one who acts upon the authority of another, from Old French ministre. Servant, valet, member of a household staff, administrator, musician, minstrel. 12th century. Directly from Latin minister, genitive ministry, inferior, servant, priest assistant. In medieval Latin, priest from minus, minor, less, hence subordinate. From Proto Indo-European root, may, small, yada yada yada, formed on the model of magistrate, see master, which is the correct application. Again, back to Romans 13:4. For he is the minister of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. Two more scriptures, really precepts that apply, and we'll close. As I said, this response was done in all humility, so no need to go overboard. This is Romans chapter 9 and 22, and it reads, what if the Most High, willing to shew his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? Esau and the 2/3 are fitted for destruction, yes, but more so Esau, because on top of him destroying everything, just as Yahweh intended, we know that the 2/3 will have a place of rulership in the kingdom, whereas there is no salvation for Esau, who was made to be utterly destroyed. Proverbs 16:4, the Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Speaking again to Yahweh's patience and the power he possesses. We know that day to be the day of judgment, but evil is a compound word, ev meaning age or time, ill meaning bad. Simply put, a bad time. One more and that's it. Let's go back to Romans 9 verse 11. For the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High power according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. Let's skip to 13. And it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. What shall we say then? Is there unrighteousness with the Heavenly Father? The Most High forbid. So whatever the minister's function, it has no bearing on Yahweh's righteousness or judgment. Esau is simply a tool to bring about Yahweh's will. Phone out a chime on that. Before I forget, I'm in actual possession of an apocryphal commentary, and here is what it says concerning the use of minister pursuant to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6, verse 1 through 11. Kings must give heed, for their power is from God. Kings are reminded that they rule by the grace of God as ministers of his kingdom, under his scrutiny. So Solomon sat on the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel, and that's 1 Chronicles 28:5. Or later, God gave Ptolemy Philadelphus the hegemony in Egypt. Near verses 3 and 4 in wording are Romans 13:1 and 7. To be honest, I'm going to stop right here because I'm not privy to any other arguments made by whoever. The Spirit jumped on me to address this when I seen it, and if there are any who are the wiser, feel free to respond. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Yahshai Bashem Rakakwadash. Through the power and spirit, I hope you are edified. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach us 100% truth and rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Peace and blessings to y'all. Shalom, Yasharallah. Don't take that test, don't take that jab, and definitely don't take that chip.